Hello everyone, in today's video we're going to talk about how to prepare for going VAT registered. If you're about to go VAT registered and you're not sure what to do, watch this video. I'm going to talk you through step by step what you need to do and everything about VAT in general. Let's go. So you don't need to go anywhere else right now. This is a fully 2024 brand new comprehensive guide on going VAT registered. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about going VAT registered, being VAT registered, and then the exact steps that you need to take. This is the video that I wish I had on the internet when I was going VAT registered as an Amazon seller, because I was completely in the dark. I've not actually seen another video apart from my videos on the internet talking about exactly what you need to do, not only the steps going VAT registered, but the build up to going VAT registered. Go get a cup of tea, go get a cup of coffee, watch this through right till the end, and I guarantee you're going to learn something. Now, just before we jump into this tutorial, I've got to let you know that Awesome is sponsoring this video, and there's a £100 off voucher below using that link to get accounting with them. Now, I've been doing accounting with Awesome, using them as my accountants for probably 2.5 years now, and they actually prepare my VAT books every single month. Also, there's another link there. For £12, you can set up your limited company. Only £12. Awesome will do that for you professionally through them. Let's go. The first question, what is VAT? Now, VAT stands for value added tax. Now, the majority of items that you will buy as a customer and the customers that are buying from you on Amazon or your e-commerce platform will have VAT on them. Let's say, for example, headphones. If you're going to buy some headphones, you won't see the VAT price, the 20% VAT that is being charged to you as the customer, but behind the scenes, the actual business is actually paying 20% VAT to the government, and that 20% would have been taken from you, the consumer. So the business has got to take into account that 20% of a VATable item has actually got to be sent to the government, and that will be added on to their total sale price to you, or it should be anyway, otherwise they're not going to be making any money. Now, there is some items that are deemed 0% VAT. Now, some of these items will be some grocery items, not all, but some grocery items like biscuits, okay? Some women's stuff like tampons, etc., and some baby items like clothing will be also 0% VAT. Now, once again, this applies 20% VAT to the customer, not to you. Okay, this is 20% VAT that is charged to the customer, but you have to pay it on the behalf of HMRC to them. So let me give you a good example of the headphones. Okay, so let's say that you're selling headphones which are 20% VATable rate for £20. Now, £4 of that, 20% of the £20 in total is going to be VAT. So if this was my business, what would happen is if we sold X amount of headphones, let's just say we sold one in this instant, then I would owe at the end of our quarter or at the end of our month, depending on when you're going to submit your VAT return, I would owe the government £4. Okay, now my accountants, okay, would do the VAT refund, and they would show me the breakdown of the products, and they would show me the 20%, and I would then have to pay that to HMRC. Now, it's important to note this is for VAT registered sellers only. So this is why there's such a transition going from non-VAT registered to VAT registered, because previously, or maybe now when you're not VAT registered, you would keep the whole £20 of them headphones and you wouldn't have to pay HMRC anything. However, it's not all doom and gloom, okay, and we're going to talk about that later on in the video. It's not all doom and gloom, because now you can actually start claiming VAT for those headphones or for your specific products back, whereas when you're not VAT registered, you can't claim back, but you don't have to pay it. Okay, so there's a slight discrepancy there. So another question is, when do you actually have to go VAT registered? Is it when £85,000 goes through your bank account? Or is it when £85,000 is in sales from your Amazon account? Now, so there we go. There's the first part of the question. You need to sell £85,000 worth. And the answer to that question is £85,000 worth needs to travel through your Amazon seller account, your sales, not through your bank account. Actually, this was a massive issue I had with a previous accountant when I didn't use Awesome, who's an Amazon accountant specialist, okay? This is why I strongly advise using an Amazon account specialist like them, because my old accountant advised me that it was okay to only go VAT registered when £85,000 had travelled through my business bank account. That was wrong, okay? It's when £85,000 has gone through your sales on the Amazon account, that's when you need to go VAT registered. Now, please note, guys, this is for UK sellers only, for limited companies VAT, okay? This does not apply if you're a USA seller. You need to look at your own rules and regulations around this stuff. Now, at this stage of the video, you might be thinking it's all doom and gloom. You might have been coming into this video thinking, I really don't want to transition into VAT because I'm just going to have to pay a flat rate of 20% VAT and it's going to be grim. 20% less turnover, 20% less profit, and that's just going to be grim. Well, guys, that's not actually true. The discrepancy that you're going to pay is not necessarily 20%. It may be 20%, absolutely, you have to pay to the government, but this is what you need to take into account. When you're not VAT registered, as I mentioned earlier, you're not able to claim back any of the VAT that your suppliers are charging you. Now, you might be thinking, my suppliers don't charge VAT. Well, they do, okay? Even if you're not VAT registered at the moment, that some of the suppliers, if you're selling 20% VATable products, okay, like hairbrushes, like hair dryers, like headphones, t-shirts, glasses, 90% of things that are for sale are 20% VAT applicable at a rough guess, okay? If you're selling that stuff, in that invoice, look at the breakdown, there will be 20% VAT applied, okay? Now, you can't claim that back. You don't have to pay the government, you don't have to pay 20% to the government on your VAT return because you're not yet VAT registered, but you also can't claim it back, guys. So when you transition to become a VAT registered seller, yes, you're going to have to pay 20%, bottom rate, bottom flat line, whatever it is, to HMRC. You're going to have to collect it on their behalf. However, the stuff that you're buying from your wholesalers, the stuff that you're buying from your retailers, the stuff you're buying for private label or bundles or whatever you're doing to sell on Amazon, you can actually claim 20% back also. Okay, there'll be a breakdown in an invoice from VATable items and you can claim that back and you can offset that against the tax that you have to pay. Okay, so at the end of the month, let's keep it really simple for you guys. I do my VAT books, which we talk about this, what you need to do later on, don't worry. I do my VAT books every single month. So my accountants will take a breakdown of all the items I've sold that are 20% VAT, okay? They then have that figure that is owed to HMRC. But then what they do is collect all the VATable, 20% VATable receipts for the products that I've bought, and they will then deduct that from the amount that I owe HMRC. So that discrepancy that you owe is not always just 20% because you can actually claim back 20% from the items that you're buying as well, guys. So it's not like the biggest fear in the world. I worked out that a lot of the products that I sell in the UK that are 20%, I'm actually only paying around about 8%. Okay, now don't hold me to this. This is just what I've worked out from some of my products. But by the time we've claimed the products back, by the time we've claimed services and software back, and by the way, you can claim back all your services, your software, your Amazon fees, Amazon seller account, your Amazon advertising. You will no longer have to pay 20% VAT on that stuff, guys. So by the time you've claimed that back, by the time you've claimed back the VAT on the receipt for the items that you've bought, a lot of my stuff, it only works out that I'm paying around about 8% more than what I was when I wasn't VAT registered, guys. So it's not like a massive doom and gloom here. A lot of people are under the illusion that it's just, all money's out once you're VAT registered. It's not. As long as you know what you're doing, as long as you're using the correct accountants, okay, and you know how to work out this stuff. An important note also is that if you're selling items that are 0% VATable, then you are actually, in most cases, I certainly was, you're better off, okay? If you sell like grocery items, as I say, not all grocery items, okay? A lot of items that are fully chocolate biscuits, for example, they are VATable. If they're chocolate covered, they are VATable, okay? But if you're selling plain biscuits, if you're selling a lot of baby goods, if you're selling a lot of crackers, for example, or cheese, a lot of that stuff, as long as it's not complex, is actually 0% VAT rated. So, excuse me, guys. As an example, if you sold only 0% VATable items, right? At the end of the month, what your accountant, or at the end of the 3 months, depending on when you submit your VAT books, which we'll talk about later on, your accountants are going to have a long list of items, and they're going to be checking what is VATable and in accordance with your tax codes on Amazon, which we will also talk about later on. You're going to have tax codes, and if anything is 0% VAT rated, it's going to show as 0 on their spreadsheet. So there's nothing to pay HMRC. Now, if every single one of your items was 0% VAT, then you're likely actually going to receive money from HMRC because you remember you're still claiming back from the softwares you use, the services you use, the providers that you use, the Amazon FBA fees, and any supplies. For example, let's say you use boxes as well to ship some of your products that are 0%. You don't have to pay 20% of the whole product if you're just using a box that is still 20% VATable. So you can claim back the boxes, you can claim back your packaging, you can claim back your prep fees if your fulfillment center has VAT on it, or your warehouse fees that have got VAT on them, or your softwares and your services. So at the end of the quarter, whenever you do your VAT books, if you sell 100%, for an example's sake, 0% VATable items, then you're likely going to get paid money from HMRC because you're claiming back all the other stuff. So I hope that makes sense as well, guys. This is not all doom and gloom. A lot of people mix and match. Some 0% items, some 20% items. Okay, so it softens the blow a bit when it comes to VAT. So let me give you a quick summary on the VAT stuff. Before we get in what you need to do once you go over the VAT register, what you're going to do in the next section, let me give you a brief summary of what we just talked about. Once you go over the 85,000, you are now going to be VAT registered. And that means that you can now claim for every single receipt that you are charged VAT for. Okay? Now, not if it's stuff that you're buying that is 0%, remember. It has to be stuff that is VATable. You can claim back any VAT on invoices from stuff that you're buying. You can claim back on Amazon FBA fees. You can claim back on other fees from Amazon, shipping fees. You can claim back on boxes that you buy, packaging for your business, softwares and services. However, anything that is 20% VATable within your Amazon account, you're now going to have to pay 20% VAT to the government and collect it on their behalf. That's what's going to happen next. So, what's going to happen the moment you go VAT registered? Now, first of all, I wouldn't leave it to wait. I'm hoping you're not watching this video as you've just hit 85,000. I'm hoping that you've taken the hindsight and you're at about 50 to 60,000 right now. So it gives you a little bit of time to get yourself organized. If you have hit the 85,000, then you need to, if you haven't already, you need to contact an Amazon accountant specialist, unless you're going to do it yourself, which I probably wouldn't advise because you want to spend your time building the business, not working in the business like this sort of stuff on a £10 task, I call them. But you need to prepare for going VAT registered. So what's going to happen is when you go VAT registered, when you hit the 85,000, your accountant should let you know that they're now going to be submitting VAT books for you on your behalf. And there's two ways you can do this. The first way is you can submit them quarterly. The second way is that you can submit them monthly. Now, by default, you're going to have to submit them quarterly because we're a fairly big business now, you know, quote unquote, for selling on Amazon, and we sell tens and tens and tens of thousands a month, sometimes over 100,000 a month. We have hundreds of VAT receipts we sometimes have to claim. We do it monthly because it affects our cash flow. So that's up to you to decide. You can talk to your accountant about this, but you're going to have to get yourself an Amazon accountant specialist, okay? Unless you're going to do this stuff yourself, as I say, which I wouldn't advise. They're going to want to prepare your VAT books, and they're going to ask you for the last 3 months worth of receipts. Any receipts where you've got VATable items, they're going to ask for that stuff, guys, okay? The next thing they're going to be doing is checking your Amazon account. They're going to be checking the tax codes within your Amazon account. So you need to make sure that you've checked all the tax codes in your Amazon account, whether you're reselling other goods or if you've got your own products listed, whether it's bundles or private label, there's a tax code. It's either going to be 0% tax code or it's going to be a 20% tax code. Okay, now you need to look these different tax codes up in Google for the sort of stuff that you're selling. You need to make sure that the tax codes are a reflection of the correct reflection. So if you're selling biscuits that are 0% VAT rated, not all, but some, you need to check this stuff. You need to go through every single product and make sure that that's a 0% VAT tax code on that product. If it's a 20% tax code, like headphones, for example, you need to make sure you've got a 20% tax code in there, because your accountant, and I've never heard anyone talk about this ever on YouTube, by the way, telling you what to do this stuff. This is where I got stung in the past again. Your accountant is going to be pulling that report. Okay, and they're just going to be going by that report. So if that report has got incorrect tax codes, let's say that your headphones are down as a 0% rated product, and Amazon's been selling it without VAT on it, you're going to be not paying VAT on a product that is 20% VAT. So if HMRC do a VAT inspection, which by the way I've just gone through, and it took 6 months for me to get over £10,000 back from HMRC, so these are serious things, right? And they took about £800 from me. Then you're going to be in trouble. And if you repeat offence that, then you're going to be in for claims and liabilities for, trying to, fraudulently take money from HMRC. Also, in other ways, you might be missing out on claiming. You know, if it's a 0% item and you're paying 20% on it because you've got the wrong tax code in there, it's very important that you make sure you've got the right tax codes, guys, or you're going to be in trouble, or you're going to be paying less than what you need to, more than what you need to be paying. On top of that, not only the tax codes, but the second thing is that they're going to be wanting every single receipt that you've ever had in that VAT period. Okay, so you're going to want to start claiming, if you're at the 60, 75,000 now, right? As soon as you hit that 85,000, for the next 3 months, you need to provide every single receipt to your accountant. Every single receipt. Okay, guys? So if you do private label and you just buy like 5 ASINs and you import them, whatever, that's fine. It's a few receipts. It's 5 receipts probably. But if you're buying arbitrage products, wholesale products, or bundles, you're going to have multiple receipts, sometimes hundreds or tens of receipts. So you need to start making your own folders and stuff like that, and actually tracking all of these receipts so that you've got them, okay? Your accountant is then going to ask for all of the receipts for that VATable period, and then it's going to be pulling the data from your Amazon account, and it's going to be offsetting the VAT or no VAT, whatever you know, depending on what you buy, the products that have got VAT on them or the products haven't got VAT on them, it's going to be offsetting that against the reflection of the tax codes of the tax that you need to pay. Okay? So if it pulls out the data from your Amazon account and all of your products are 20% and you owe 5,000, your accountants are going to be pulling every single VAT receipt that you've collected and given to them. So the more receipts you give them, the more they're going to be able to deduct that from the amount you owe HMRC. It deducts the buyable purchases from the sales of goods on the VATable items. And then obviously if there's 0% sales, there's nothing to pay HMRC. If there's 0% invoices, then you can't claim because it's a 0% item. I hope that makes sense, guys. That's the next step. So what happens with me and Awesome is that they've got an awesome software, but we just ping all of our VAT receipts to them. So yes, it's quite intensive, but when you've got the right setup, like we have, and my virtual assistants, my freelancers, chase all our receipts, and we simply upload them to the Awesome software, ping, 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 and then they get all the receipts. And it's not a faff, right? But before that, you need to create your own folders, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, whatever, in monthly order, and collect all your VAT receipts, guys. So that's the general analysis of VAT, guys. I've told you what it is, and I've told you what you've got to do. Now, I understand that you're going to be extremely overwhelmed at this point, because I get it, and it felt some in the dark. As I say, there was no videos like this explaining what to do, right? If you get, you know, I've only got my recommendation below from Awesome, okay? I use them as well. They're VAT, Amazon specialists, etc. But whoever you use, please, please, please just make sure that they know Amazon. And if they don't understand the answer to one of your questions, and they don't advertise that they do e-commerce accounting or something, they're probably not going to be a specialist in this stuff, guys. And they're probably not going to be pulling the right reports. They're probably not going to understand the different tax codes within Amazon. They're probably not going to understand all the reports and data that they have to pull from Amazon and how to do this stuff properly. And they could be costing you a lot of money or getting you in a lot of trouble, guys. I've been there myself. Okay, that's the biggest thing that I can say. But you don't have to worry about this stuff if you're collecting every single one of your VAT receipts to the best of your ability, right? If you're collecting every single one of your VAT receipts to the best of your ability and you use an e-commerce specialist, then there's nothing to be worried about. Eventually, this just becomes process, normal, everyday accounting stuff that, quite frankly, is just boring. And you just have to get it done. So try not to get overwhelmed by it. Make sure you use an e-commerce specialist. And make sure you're collecting your VAT receipts the moment you go over that 85,000. Just do it 5 or 10,000 before, just so that you know you're not going to miss anything. Because remember, guys, some of the stuff that you're selling when you're VAT registered, my final top tip, some of the stuff that you're selling when you're VAT registered is going to be stuff that you bought before you went over the 85,000. But if you sell it after you've gone over the 85,000 threshold, then you can still claim for it because you've sold it, yeah? So my advice would actually be to start collecting receipts before you go over the VAT threshold, 10, 15, 20,000 before, just so that you've got it. Because otherwise your accountant's going to ask you for them anyway, for anything that you've sold. Guys, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. All my tools and recommendations of products and services I use are in the comments and the links below, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.